Hey, good evening, everyone. Happy Sunday to ya. Thanks for joining me. Let me see if I've got everything going here. We'll get started. I hope everybody had an amazing weekend. I know that I did. I'm kind of sad to see it go. The weather here in mid-Missouri has been amazing. So hopefully you all had some pretty decent weather and was able to get outside a little bit. Hey Mary, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. So tonight we're going to do a double gatefold. If you stick around with me much, you notice that I love fun folds. So we've got a new catalog coming out in June. So I'm trying to use up some of this stuff from the annual catalog, bringing back some of the stuff that's out there that we haven't used a lot because the mini is out, and so we're focusing a lot on that. So this is the hand pen bundle. It comes with a gorgeous kind of watercolor stamp and then this amazing die cut set. This is a bundle. This is not one of the special savings ones this month, but most of these, I think I used all of them in the mini, the mini die cut machine. Hey Rosie, I love the hand pen DSP2. It's gorgeous. So I don't know if you can quite use this one in the mini. I've tried to use some of these long border cuts, die cuts, and haven't had a lot of luck. So if you've got the big machine, that's when you're gonna wanna use that. So let's get started. I've done a lot of prep work, so hopefully I can get this done. I did this card last week, so hopefully I can remember what I'm doing. So I've got my Simply Score tool here, and all my measurements are going to be on my blog tomorrow. So you can just kind of watch it, and all the score lines and everything will be on there. But anyway, this is an 11 by 5.5 sheet of Pool Party cardstock, and I am going to score it at 1 1/4. And what I do is I usually go fairly small, slow with the small one, and then I turn it around and use that big end. So that's at 1 1/4. I'm going to do 3 1/8, and the great thing about the Simply Score tool is that it's got these great little clips that you can put on there, especially if you're doing several cards. So you can put it on there so you don't have to keep checking that measurement. All right, and then to make it easy, I'm just going to flip it around and do the exact same thing. Oops. So next week I'm going to be traveling. My husband and I are going to go to Nashville, so hopefully I'll be able to make it Sunday night. I'm going to have a card made, but I think we'll be home in time to get the live in. So we're headed to Nashville for a bachelor and bachelorette weekend, so it should be fun. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it at that 3 3/8 side, and I'm going to take a bone folder and I'm just going to burnish it really good. Then I'm going to open it up and flip it around and do the same thing. Then I'm going to fold back that 1 1/4 mark, burnish it as well, and then do the same thing. And hopefully what you'll get is just where you see it just meets. I don't know if you can hardly tell, but you can tell it just meets, very little overlap. So that's what we have for the card itself. So I'm going to set that to the side, and we're going to go ahead and glue on. Oh, thanks, Mary. I know it sounds like fun. Hey, Amy, thanks for joining me. So what I have here is just some of the hand pen DSP along with some So Saffron mats that we're going to just adhere. And we're going to let the paper do the work on this card. So using that liquid adhesive, we're going to glue that on. Just making those fine little edges just to give it that much color, that much pop. All right, so here's the side. The other reason I kind of do these first is that way it can kind of have a little bit of time for that liquid adhesive to cure and set, so that when I'm putting it on the next layer, it's going to have, it won't be sliding around. I know, Karen, and with the Stampin' Up! Paper, it always just does the work for us. It really does. And this paper is, I love it. I use a lot of DSP, but I don't always finish a whole pack. This one is, I think I'm on my second or third pack already and really tearing through it. Okay, here we go. All right. So by now, the larger pieces should be set, so we can go ahead and add those on using just a little bit of that liquid adhesive. You don't want to put enough on there that it's going to warp. And as I said, all of these dimensions will be on my blog tomorrow. You're on your 4th pack, Rosie. That's awesome. Okay. And then slide that in there. Just leaving just that edge so that you've got a pretty layering effect. Then we're going to add these outside. And then we're going to go do some stamping while we let this cure a little bit. All right. There we go. And then here we go. Last side. Okay. All right, we're going to set that aside, let that cure a little bit, and we're going to do some stamping. So the fun part of these stamps is, like I said, it's the hand pen petal selection. So you have this outline, and then there's the water brush solids that you can stamp to give that water brush image without doing the water brush. So I've got a piece of basic white that I'm going to stamp with basic gray. And so I also have another piece of basic white. So this is going to be measuring 4 by 5 1/4. I'm going to mat it with the So Saffron for the inside. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp that at the same time. And then, of course, we're going to stamp the envelope. So we're going to get kind of try to do them in kind of assembly line set. So this is a tight fit with this basic white. So hopefully I can get it on there. Okay, set that to the side. Okay, perfect. Now we're going to stamp this for the inside of the card, and I don't want the whole image because that might be a little too much for that inside. But I think I'm going to do right there for that corner. And then we're going to do the same thing for the envelope. Okay, so see, we can set that aside and get it out of the way. Close up my stamp set. Hey, Lorianne, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. So what I'm going to kind of do is I'm just going to kind of use some of the colors that go along with that DSP. So I've got Garden Green, I've got Pool Party, I've got Highland Heather, and So Saffron. And I'm just going to kind of go and grab one and see if it works for me. Okay. So let's see here. We'll do the medium size one first. So what I do is I kind of sit it on there, see how I like it, and then I'm going to just grab any color. So we'll do the Highland Heather since it's on top. And on most of these, I stamped them off. Actually, that's pretty light, so we'll go ahead and leave that one. Bring this one in here. And the great thing about this is it doesn't match up perfect, and that's okay because this is supposed to look like art and like the water brush. So clean that off and go with maybe the large flower this time. And so once again, what I'm going to kind of do is I'm just going to kind of set it right there, see how I like it. Hey Vicki, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. And I think I'm going to use the Soft Saffron for that large flower. Pick that up with my stamp block. Give it a nice little stamp there. And with the assembly line, you can just really pound out some cards this way. All right, we'll clean that one off. Close my ink pad. And then we'll go with this little small one here. And I just kind of turn it until I see like I like where it's going to end up. I think I want it like that. So we'll do a little bit of that Highland Heather again. Ink it up, but not super dark, because we are going for that watercolor look. There we go. And finally, with the envelope. Clean off your stamp. Then we'll go for the twofer. And we'll do a little bit of Pool Party on that one. So once again, I'm just gonna line it up a little bit, pick it up with my ink block, block, and do some Pool Party. There we go. And so sometimes what I do is I test out how juicy that ink pad is on my grid paper. And that'll tell me if I want to stamp it off or not. All right. So there we go. So as you can tell, thanks Mary, I think these colors are really gorgeous too. But Stampin' Up! Did all the work on this one. Okay, so now we're finally going to end up with the leaves. I'm going to use that garden green. And just slowly, so I feel like we're going to use the small leaves on that one. So that's all we need the big leaves for. Then now we're going to use these small leaves. So pick it up with your block. There we go. Here we are. So you can see there's a lot of ink colors on here, lots of changing, lots of stamping. Thanks, Karen. Yeah, kind of that assembly line sort of thing going on here. But it goes really fast because you're not lining everything up precisely. So that makes a big difference with the speed that you're doing things at. So you can chug out several of these cards at one time. All right, so we've got our envelope just about done. So that's the front of it. This is what we're gonna do for the inside. We'll stamp a sentiment on here as well. And this is going on the outside right here on the die cuts. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and bring in my mini cut and emboss. This is on sale this month for just, I think, 11 more days. So if you don't have one, you want one. Trust me, I've had mine since the very beginning and I use it tons and tons. I doubt very seriously if you bork it, Rosie. If you're using this much paper, then I definitely know you're stamping with this one a lot. Okay, so you just line it up. I hope that's in the shot. Here we go. I'll pull it up. So you just line it right up. I'm going to hold this down. And I kind of put them at a staggering state so that it goes in a little bit easier. And then I press it down to make sure there's no shifting because we don't have that magnetic plate for those. All right. set that out of the way, and it came out perfect. All right. So the other thing that's beautiful about this die set is you've got all of these solid flowers and leaves that you can die cut with your cardstock to layer if you want to. Since this is a gatefold card, it's pretty thick already. I didn't want to add any more additional layers. Well, I wanted to, I just chose not to because it's going to be heavy enough as it is. All right, so I pre-cut some Soap Saffron and Pool Party from the Layering Circle set. And once again, this went through my mini die cut machine. You can see it's closed, but this is the largest one, so you can use this entire die set with that mini machine if that's all you have. So that's a perfect die set to have to make some beautiful layered cards. And the circles just make everything better. All right, so that's how we're gonna do that. I'm gonna add a sentiment. Maybe, there it is. And I did that in the basic gray. So I'm gonna add that thanks here to the corner. And I'm gonna, ooh, I got that on the side. I need to make sure ooh, good. Didn't get the ink on there. That could have been disastrous. Clean that stamp off. Set it to the side. And then we'll adhere these pieces together. And so with this one, I did just use liquid adhesive. We're gonna put the flower on with Stampin' Dimensionals. Okay. So this gave quite a bit of a border. You can get, I could have done a bigger circle and just had just a very little tip of this, but I liked a little bit more of the border on this. And so then we're just gonna decide how we want it. And sometimes you have to play around with these to decide how it's gonna look the best. And every one of them's not gonna be the same. So I think I like it just like that. So I am going to take my Stampin' Dimensionals and be very careful to only put them on this top portion because some of it's going to hang off. So I want just enough to be on there, but not enough that it's going to stick everywhere else. Get rid of those little guys. Play around with it again. There we go. Now, what I did the first time, and we're going to do it again this time, is you can see I didn't quite get enough. So I'm going to take one of these dimensionals, peel off the back of it, and just stick it right there on that corner, and then go ahead and stick it. That way, you've got all of that dimension right there that you need. Hey, Susan, thanks for coming. Thanks, I like this card too. I was really proud of myself with this one. All right, so let's see here. Oh, I did just do the flower, so I didn't put a sentiment on the inside. So we'll go ahead and do the inside. So I've got that So Saffron cardstock that we're gonna mat against the basic white. And it just kind of flows together since we've got all the stamping done. Doesn't take any time at all. We'll pull our card base out here. We're going to use that liquid adhesive again. Very little because we don't want that warping. All right. Here we go. Having a problem keeping it in line, I'm sorry. All right, so there's the card base. Now all we have to do is add our belly band on it. So this is 11 by 1 inch. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna lay it flat. And what I like to do is put it on my grid paper so that I know that it's gonna be straight. So there it is. Kind of put the card halfway in between, and I'm gonna fold it, but not real tight. Kind of give it a little burnish. Then I'm going to fold it and leave a little bit of space because you don't want it too tight. Burnish it. And then we will take our Stampin' seal and do just a little bit right there to hold that. Make sure that it matches right there. And then we're ready to put it on the inside of the card. All right, slide it down. All right, so now what we're gonna do is decide, yeah, that's perfect. So we may want to pull it over just a little bit because we've got that leaf that's kind of gonna hang off. So it may not be perfectly centered because of that. I'm gonna put that Stampin' seal right here. And we're doing that just because it's a little bit of a stronger adhesive, and this is gonna be using it to pull it in and out. So we wanna make sure that we've got something fairly strong on there. Here we go. All right, and the final touch is gonna be one of these bumblebee trinkets, and I'm down to the last one, and I've got to decide if I'm gonna order another one or not. These are absolutely gorgeous. So I'm gonna use a glue dot to put that on here. So the great thing is you can just stick it on the glue dot, pull it up, and decide where you want it. We'll put him right there. Oh, thank you, Karen. I'm glad you like it. And then we'll finish up that card or envelope and we will be done. So I've got more of that gorgeous DSP that's only available for probably another month or so. So make sure you don't miss out on it. Along with this stamp set, it's beautiful. Hopefully it'll be a carryover because it's gorgeous. Give it a little burnish. I think I made it all the way tonight without forgetting something. That's exciting for me. I feel like I'm always trying to improvise something. All right. Hi Heidi, thanks for joining me. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. So there is your final card and envelope matching with the DSP. The envelope is gorgeous. So it kind of gives that receiver that little bit on the outside to know that there's something gorgeous on the inside. So don't forget what's going on special-wise. The special bundles, the Savings in Bloom, those are going on for another 11 days along with the mini cut and emboss machine. We've got a new catalog coming out. If you're interested in getting a sneak peek of that, give me a shout out because I may be able to make that happen. I can tell you how you can see that a little early. The dimensions on everything will be on my blog. If I missed any questions, I'm sorry. I'll come back through and catch them for you. Thanks so much for spending part of your Sunday with me. I appreciate it. Have a great week and we'll see you next week. Thanks.